Greetings and welcome back to the lab. It's finally time. Let's fix this darn flashlight. I finally have all the parts. There's a couple of things that are going to be a little weird, but there may be some parts where I'm going to have to go into time lapse just so you don't get bored with the process. But let's talk about the flashlight and let's talk about kind of what it looks like right now, and then we'll do a comparison later. So I've cracked it open using my spudger. I've got the two parts of the shell here on the top and the O-ring that puts it all together. On this side, you've got sort of a button extension, and I'll explain a little more about that in a second. On this side, I've actually done something that I already did something off camera, and that is to widen this hole, because this hole was supposed to be for a micro USB, and what I happen to have available that may work for me is a USB-C. And let me see if I can unplug something else. And this I harvested out of the same roadside miniature smoke machines, is what I'm calling them. Oh, that's not long enough. Interesting. All right. Well, let's see. If I plug it in, I may be able to shift the camera position over. It's not actually showing anything, but it may also be because there's no load. So I harvested that USB-C socket and I widened this so I could shove this into there. You know what? Never mind. I'll show you that when it comes time to actually install it, but I did test fit it and it does fit. I could probably almost easier do it from this side, but it has to go inside here. In fact, what I'm going to do is this little cover is intended to be like for waterproofing, but the shell is just snapped together, so there's no real waterproofing to this at all. I'm just going to pull this out because it's just going to get in the way. Well, it's broken. I'm not putting that back together. I don't care. These are my 3-watt LEDs that I just got. And this is what this looks like. Let me put this in the middle to create sort of a before and after shot. And I'll demonstrate the brightness of this thing with the studio lights on. Hopefully that'll demonstrate something. So that's full brightness. That's half brightness. And then warning to those that are sensitive, it's about the strobe. Okay, I've turned it off. You can look again. And so that is the one. It's not terribly bright under these studio lights, but I suspect that the 3-watt is going to be better than that. So let's make that the first thing we do, actually. The reason I need this piece right here, the USB-C, is because it broke off of the circuit board that was here. So I figured out that I can actually mount a new one, not on here. I'm going to actually wire it into this and put a piece of electrical tape for separation, and it should all just fit in inside the case. So let's see if we can't desolder. Yes, I understand the battery is still hooked up, and that's a little bit dangerous. But let's see. Pull out my soldering iron. It's going to fight me a little bit. Interesting. What have I done differently here? All right, the reason why I have a light sitting here and partly in the picture, that's a magnifying glass with a light, and I'm using that so I can see things better. But hopefully the camera will still pick things up. Oh, I see. I wrapped it around. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now I got that one off. Let's kind of straighten it out a bit, and I'll probably re-tin it before I attempt to attach the 3-watt. This is stranded wire, which I don't know, may or may not be the best option here. We're going to find that out soon enough. So let's grab this. I smell something. I'm making sure the battery's not somehow impacted. That's an 18650, but not a very powerful one. But then it's a rechargeable flashlight, so not a big deal. Let's see. I haven't played with these before. Get one of them separated off. There is another question as whether I can fit this in here. I think it's going to just fit. I might have to pull out the file and do a little bit of filing to get this to fit right. Interesting. Okay, let's try it this way. Oh, yeah. Okay, it is going to need a little bit more filing, but that went in. Now, the fun part, I'm going to have to somehow get positive and negative to come around for me. Okay, I think I can make that work. So let's see, how much more do I need to carve out of here? All right, we'll pull that out. We'll get the files. This is the same thing I did to widen the other hole. So let's find an appropriate rounded file. That looks like it could work for me. And we'll go for a little bit more depth. And a little off the sides. It'd actually be better if I did this probably with a drill bit. I'm just not sure what size I need. And this seems to be working. It's taking material off. And reasonably quickly. These are diamond files. Let's see. If I can make it fit in the first part. Yeah, I see. Okay, it does have to go in that orientation. I'd rather have a tight fit than make it too loose. It needs a little bit more on the sides at least. So the reason this has to go in a particular orientation is if I stick it in this way, the square part here is not settling all the way down. But if I do it this way, I don't have that square part. So let's see if this will... The circuit board is just about the right thickness to fit what they originally had. Oops. That got a little cockeyed. Huh. Looks like I'm going to have to go even further. So at this point, we'll jump into time lapse while I get this worked out. As long as it doesn't push the... Oh, I see why it won't settle. It needs to be more of an oval hole here, because the leads on either side of this LED are getting in the way. So it needs to be a little bit wider just to manage that. All right, so I'm going to keep filing away, and we'll come back when I've got it to test fit. Okay, that makes a bit of a mess, but now I think we kind of got it. So the next thing is going to be hooking up the actual LED, which I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave in there because it seems to be reasonably well attached. Of Question is, what can I use to keep this standing up while I try to solder some? Let's just try and get this elevated, maybe. Something like that. And then I think I can kind of hit it from the side. There are a couple of pads here that I'm trying to get solder onto. That was easy. Okay, that was reasonable. So this has got to be the positive side. Put this away for a second. See if I can't just tin that and make it a little bit easier. Just fresh solder all around should make it easier to work with. And let's do the same with the negative side. Yeah, this is going to look like a hack job on the inside. As long as these two don't... Well, actually, even if they do touch each other, it's really not the end of the world. So let's see if we can't use this to prop up that and get the positive on this side. And then I can run through that little gap with the wire. I wish I had the dexterity that Big Clive has. I've said that a bunch of times. The fact that he can hold things. Also, I have nerve issues, so that's why I'm moving around so much. But it's frustrating, and I burn myself a lot. But I do it because I enjoy it. That felt good. All right, that's got the positive on. Let's see, how am I going to do the negative? If I come around this way, it would almost be easier to just do it. Put this thing out. Yep, there it is. All right. I thought that was going to help. It's not really helping, so here we are. Let's hope that I haven't accidentally turned this thing on. Let's find out. Nope. All right. Now, if I can hold this down. Gonna need 3 hands. Get that out of my way. Get it closer to me so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. That should probably work. You know, I could have just done this on my own without all the embarrassing maneuvers. But I already promised that I would do a video putting this back together. It's not going to be terribly, terribly strong, but the reality is once it's in place, it's not going to move. So let's see, for comparison's sake, get some stuff out of the way. And put these back in. Flip this puppy over because that's how we did it with the 1 watt. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'll do it on the other side. And in editing, I'll be able to show you what it looked like with the first one. Now this one. If I've done it right, will turn on. So that's full brightness. That's half brightness. That's how I warn it to those that are sensitive. It's about the strobe. And that's the strobe. And that's pretty darn bright. Okay, I've turned it on. Now, if I stick that, there's a lens involved in this whole thing, so I kind of stick it in there and try to do it again. And again. Sorry about the strobing, but here it comes. All right, I'm happy with that. We have one other thing we need to do, and that's get this piece soldered up and ready to go. So we're going to figure out where the positive and negative are on this. Where did they? Are they on the back side? There's 5 volts. There's ground. And I'm going to need wire. I'm going to go find some wire, and I'll be right back. I figured you didn't want to watch all of that little stuff, but it did occur to me that tiny little pieces, you can use a pair of pliers, and hopefully this will work. Hopefully I can figure out specifically ground, 5 volt. I'm trying to figure out whether the LED and ground are on the same path, whether it matters. It seems like the one in the middle there, let me zoom in for you. It seems like the one in the middle there is not untouched from when I desoldered wires off of it at some point. But I'm going to go ahead and use the meter, which you may or may not be able to hear. And I'm going to see if I can't. Yes, my leads are bent. They should beep like that if these are connected. Well, it's fighting me. Wait a minute. If the shell is grounded, then sitting in metal pliers, I should actually be able to get a reading. That's ground. That is somehow not ground. Yeah, I think that middle one is the ground. So let's try to put this back together. So if the middle one is ground, with some luck, I'll get this on here. It's almost like micro soldering, not quite. It is fiddly. And now that I look at it, I need to cut that shorter. The potential that positive and ground could short out on me. So I don't want that. I'm going to try and come in from the left side. Get my soldering iron. It's fighting me, and it might be that this is unleaded solder on here. All right, as long as I'm not actually connected to the USB cable, for the moment, I'm safe. Now I gotta find the red wire. Did you see where the red wire slipped off to? I'm gonna go look for it. It managed to find its way under the desk. Okay, that is shorter. Get this closer. Close these up again. And try and come in from the right. Ooh. I just saw a little whisker move its way over, so now I gotta fix my tinning and cut it even shorter. That could have been bad. I'm assuming that the circuit somewhere has some protection, but I don't know that for sure. Let's see. I hold it like this. I'm in. All right. I moved something so I don't burn it. The soldering iron. Now we can attach this to the rest of the circuit, which also has the light, the LED. I got to find my positive and negative on there. That's going to be on this end. And so it looks like where was this? Oh, I see the ripped pads. I don't know how well you can see that, but let's see if I can use the wire to point at it. I'll zoom in for you. We got one ripped pad right there and one ripped pad right there. That's what happened when the old connector came off. So if I follow that, then one of these is going to be positive and the other negative. And let's say B plus and B minus on it. No, that's L1, R1. Battery minus over there. So, yeah, it looks to me like I'll zoom in again and forgive the red wire, but I think the negative side is this side here and the positive side is that side. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Let's get the positive wire. Let's get the negative on first. Let's make sure it's short enough. The reason I'm concluding this is because I can see a battery minus and the battery is actually connected to the minus there. That should be the same, I believe, with the USB. It's common ground. That's on. Bless is too long. I know it doesn't seem like this is super long, but the problem you run into, potentially, is that if you do short anything out, you've got a lithium battery, you could short out the lithium battery, just depending on circumstances. I don't want to take that chance at all. I'm hoping that that is connected. And if I'm right, and that is connected, I should now be able to bring my... I have to have a better idea. Let me bring a power bank over and plug in. And that way, I can plug this in, and we might see some lights, or we might see some sparks. Let's find out. Well, nothing heating up. No light to indicate that it's charging. I don't think I got it backwards. That makes me wonder, because I think there's supposed to be a light when it's charging. Oh, wait a minute. Could it be a problem here? It could be this thing is dead again. I've been having problems with my power banks. So before we think that there's something wrong, here is my 10 amp hour, which I rebuilt from a laptop battery. I see no lights here. This isn't complaining. There's no smoke. And there is a switch on here in case it thinks there's not enough. Whoop, I got a light for a moment. Could have sworn I did. That's not hot. That doesn't appear to be lit up. Let me see if I turn this off. See if that makes it any easier. Unplug. Reconnect. Didn't see any lights. Flip it over. I don't see any lights. All right, let me diagnose the problem here, and I'll be back. Voiceover Ed here, in the style of Stead Sticks. It turns out that I found the problem, and it is that the traces on that board are so thin that all you got to do is touch them with a soldering iron and they break. And that apparently is what I did at some point. I hit one of those traces, and I'm trying to show it to you here in this picture. So it's going to take some work to try and fix this. But at this point, I've got so many other projects. I want to get to the other projects. So I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger here. I do want to complete the job here, but I'm going to put all of this in a project box and stick it off to the side. And we'll come back to it after the holidays, either after Halloween or a little bit later. I apologize if you were expecting a resolution, but I've not done trace repair before, and I'm kind of interested in that. So I want to try to do this. And that's where we're going to end up leaving this for now. Appreciate you for watching the video to this point. If you did, well, if you're hearing me, you did. So that's where we are right now. And that's my meter beeping at me because it hasn't been turned off yet. But yeah, that's where we are. And we'll pick up again later. Next episode, I think we'll be getting into, what's next? Probably something Halloween related. So that's where we are in the year as I'm recording this episode. So thank you so much again for watching. Take care and stay tuned.